Yes, everyone. Welcome back to the Couples Money Revelation podcast. I am your host, Couples Money Coach, Brian Madeline. Thank you for joining me again today. And today we are talking about a couple of key topics that I have noticed a lot of lately in discussions and throughout our country, and a lot of about the things I'm reading and how it relates to every year, really. But I'm gonna get some people pretty mad at me today that might hear this. But you live and you learn, right? And if you unfollow me, you unfollow me, and that's totally cool. But I wanted to get my experiences in banking and management, retail, and other categories. I wanted to offer the truth to you guys. And truth hurts, right? And hopefully I can also offer some great tips today. So the first category I want to get into um, is a hard one. Thinking back, I had to think back about it all my years at retail and management in general. And that is if you get like a decrease in income or maybe you're laid off for less hours. Let's, I'm going to come at it kind of in the retail, but also I was a manager in banking as well. So kind of both perspectives, but it really relates to a lot more retail. And over my years from 2005 to 2015, you guys, I was in retail. It was a long 10 years. A lot of people don't know that about me, actually. But four of those 10 years were in a management position in retail. And I saw some crazy stuff. So basically from 11 to 15, um, I was in about 4.5 years, actually, closer to 5. I was in management for retail. So retail, you guys, a little background if you don't know, so you don't have to look it up. Retail took a really big hit, really starting in about 2013 and moving through the 2015 and when I was there. And that was mostly because of Amazon, you guys. And their competition, they swooped in, they started crushing in-store purchase prices. No one could compete with them. I was at Office Depot, I'll have to be honest with you. And then along with this, each week we started to see like less and less hours that we could start to dish out to our employees during this time. And then we also went through a merger with Office Max, if you don't know, nationwide. And they were talking about going through them with Staples too and combining all three. And a lot of people said, hold on, that's like a monopoly, basically. I won't get into that side. You can look more into the Office Depot, Office Max, Staples merger. I think it was about 2014 is when everything got started getting completed. If you're really interested, there's some pretty crazy stories and how that was gonna pan out and eventually how it did pan out. Anyways, it was rough, you guys, in those 3 years, 2.5 years, because you had to sit down as a management team and start discussing the fact, okay, guys and ladies, we have a we have to keep our part-time at this amount of minimum, right? But we also have to keep our full-timers happy. But now we're going to have to get them closer to 34 to 36 hours in the full time. And if some of these part-timers that were working 27 to 30 hours, they're going to drop down to 20 hours a week. And that's a killer on income, you guys. That's a loss of income for a lot of people that weren't making a lot of money in retail back, 10 years ago. And then on top of that, with any extra hours that we had, so you had a certain amount of employees, we divvied everything up. We were like, all right, we got to keep them semi-happy. But we had to cut back on hours every other week, it felt like. Then we had to pick out, if we did have a few extra hours, we had to pick out a few employees who were not going to get like the huge decrease in hours, basically, and allow them to work closer to their normal hours. And I tell you this because unfortunately, it wasn't in our control, you guys. That's what I'm trying to explain. It was coming from upper management based on sales, availability of hours, and a lot more that you guys can kind of imagine. How about that? But I think oftentimes people start getting pissed off at their company because they're like, oh my God, they're cutting my hours, or oh my God, I got laid off, or, you know, something related to that. So I'm here to kind of suggest some stuff. Maybe you're going through something like this right now. Or have you maybe, or someone you know, your wife, your spouse, your husband, gone through this in the last year or two? Guys, small to medium businesses right now are getting crushed the last 2 years. And you can go back further and say, well, yeah, well, what about COVID and all those businesses that got shut down because the governments and all this other stuff? And listen, this is not a political. If you know anything about me, if you're all about politics and blaming this president and blaming the other president and stuff like that, just shut this off right now. Unfollow me. I don't care about politics, you guys. I really don't. There's so much more to this world than politics. So let me get back into it. COVID years destroyed a lot. They did. They did. Whatever you want to, whatever you want to, whatever you believe, whatever you want to believe, it is what it is. But then it cooled off for a year, you guys, right? It's like, all right, 21 going into 22. 22 was like, okay, it's calming down. It doesn't, we have a little bit of feedback on COVID. Like we were kind of starting to realize how to do things. Businesses still got crushed, right? And then 23 and 24 just turned into this hellhole because of inflation going way up and everything, cost of goods, cost of employees, everything went up, you guys. So when I say that, you're saying, well, what's some suggestions, Brian, if I'm going through something like this? Well, let me tell you from my experience how you can better your situation at work. Maybe you can't. I'll get to that at the end, especially if you plan on staying though and getting promoted. So number one is kiss some ass, you guys. Kiss some ass. And let me explain a little bit to that. I'm not saying full kiss ass, right? One of the best things I learned over my years, you guys, in me being an employee and in management, was when someone's trying to better themselves, trying to keep up great hours, trust, and maybe even get promoted, then the best way was to work really hard and not complain. That's what I meant by kiss ass. Next, you want to get promoted, right? Come up to your manager and say, hey, let me talk to you for a sec. I want to know how I can get promoted or take the next leap in this company. Can we sit down and set up a plan for the next 3 to 6 months to build my skills to get to that position with this company? You guys, that show right there is awesome. You're showing your leader you're willing to go above and beyond to move up in this company and be better and build your skills. I love that when I was in management. I encourage that. And last, if none of this applies to you, and maybe you just had a bad feeling about your job's future, then pre-planning is vital, right? It's just like budgeting. It's just like when we're going back to our finances. A couple things you might want to pre-plan starts with your family's current situation with their financial spending plan and what that kind of like needs to look like in the next 90 days or so. What if I told you guys lost your part of your income next week and you would be prepared for a big decrease in your household income? This happens. Maybe you do get fired next week. Maybe you can't stand it anymore and you just lose it and you quit. Say, I'm done here. I've seen people walk out. It's crazy. You don't get anything if you walk out, guys. Remember that. The point is, what if you get hurt? Disability. We've talked about that in previous podcasts, guys. The point is, you have to be prepared. Are you going to be able to keep up with your bills, your debts, your everyday life until you get back on your feet? Whew. I don't know, guys. These are deep questions, but in a way, nothing is guaranteed tomorrow. I'm looking at you right now. Remember that. Nothing is guaranteed tomorrow. Next, guys, really dive into what you want for your family and your job's future, obviously. Maybe you're looking to get a new job, or maybe you already have started, right? Determine if you want to work more remote, hybrid to be with your family, something like that. If you're willing to take a slight pay cut, if the offer makes life easier with less travel, maybe, or more you time. A lot of people take pay cuts, not like real big ones. If you're getting paid $30 an hour and then you're like, well, I'll get, if I get 25 an hour, but this job seems a lot better, I'm not saying go from 30 to 15 an hour if you can help it, but you know what I mean. Guys, this is really deep thinking on this. I know and as I express every day in my coaching, each situation is individualized, and how it affects your financial future is kind of the upfront key thing to think about. So the second topic, as we kind of go through income and everything, it comes from multiple conversations and experience in my banking years a few years back. It relates to your income. It relates to your paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. And that category, you guys, is banks and overdraft fees I want to talk about. I could talk for like an hour straight on this, guys, but I won't. I did take some notes on this, guys, and I am winging it a little bit, but I wanted to make sure, because like I said, I could talk maybe all day on these fees and banks and stuff like that and credit unions. So I wanted to summarize a few things here. So I am going to kind of be reading my notes a little bit here to make sure that I don't kind of go off the ledge here. So here's my discuss, and here's some tips of how you can avoid fees and better your situation at your current bank or credit union. I always will support credit unions. So you guys, many banks and credit unions have some type of overdraft account feature. It might be called like Get Money Now program or Money Now or something along the lines of that. Basically what it is it allows you overdraft up to a certain amount and take the money, take the fee, and pay it back in X amount of days. Where I used to work, it was up to 30 days, you guys. So we're going to use that as an example. You guys, this is straight up dangerous. Think about what I just said right now. Up to 30 days to pay it back. You're in the hole. It goes back to borrowing in the conversation. Borrowing money you don't have, you guys. Whew. I'm sounding like another big shot out there. I know. You're borrowing money you don't have. Sorry, not yelling. Usually it's a certain amount, you guys. You have like a month or less, like I said, to pay it back. But let's say you're drawing up to $500 extra that your next paycheck is going to have to pay back. You got to get that money back somehow. So let's say I got 1,500 in my bank. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use my money now for 2,000 total. So I'm 500. No, I'll take the $30 fee or $35 fee. Okay. I got 30 days to pay that back. And the mindset I saw a lot, you guys, was I got 30 days to pay it. I'm going to wait till day 29. Or, you know what? My paycheck comes in 2 weeks. It's going to pay it back. What happens though? It's going to be a $500 less paycheck. You're always going to be playing from behind, you guys. It's a borrowing game. So what do you do then, Brian? I don't have any money. First off, have your bank credit union shut it off. Opt out, you guys. There's a feature that says opt out. If I don't have it, I don't want it. Tell them that. Sign me off. Banks last year, you guys collected almost $10 billion in fees alone. And this isn't including credit cards and stuff like that. This is just like off of fees and everything else. Don't continue giving money to them. But Brian, I need that money. And just so you know, that was down from the previous year in fees, both on the credit card side, which is a different number, and the fee side. It was down in 23 versus 22. So 22 is worse, but that's insane amount. Brian, I need money though. What do I do next? Well, then we need to quickly evaluate your budget and spending plan. Let's be honest with it, as well as like when you're paying your bills, lining it up when your paycheck is coming in, because today is the day you're going to flip the script, you guys, when you're listening to this. You know, we need to analyze and do a quick analyze on everything right in front of us to figure out why we're doing this. Okay, Brian. So what about an overdraft loan? They got those. Those are great, right? Guys, borrowing. The interest rates are not good on overdraft loans either. This is a loan you have to pay back monthly. It's a loan. Borrowing money that is not yours, you guys. Listen, I'm gonna notate this. I want you to save as much money for you and your family as you can. Hear that out. Stop paying bank fees and things that are crushing your guys' dreams. My job is to help you guys gain that financial freedom or the financial dreams that you want in your future. For a long time, this is where it's going to get hard. And this is where people are going to be mad at me. They're already mad at me probably if they hear that and they're in the banking field. Why are you exposing this? We have goals. Oh, well. For a long time, I'm starting to realize, you guys, my role at banks and credit union was the opposite of what I do now. That is not what society needed, you guys. We don't need more fees. We don't have a lot of money right now. Why are we doing this? With all the drama of inflation, families are already struggling, you guys. I need to be that guiding hand to get them back on the tracks. And I realized years ago when I was in the banking and credit union, I slowly started realizing, I don't know what woke me up. Started realizing this is not helping them. And that's why I'm here to give you tips to build your awareness, build your trust of people that are truly trying to help your situation. And there's a lot of us out there, you guys, not hurt you. We're not trying to hurt you. There's a ton of us. You just need to find them. So my goal going forward on this podcast, and it always is positivity. I'm bringing a lot more positivity, but I want to bring real life scenarios into this and show you better guidance like hopefully I did today. I want you to subscribe if you have not. If you say, hey, Brian, I like Spotify. I'm on Spotify. Couples Money Revelation Podcast. Hey, Brian, I got Apple Podcasts. Love it. Cool. I'm on there too. Same thing. Brian, I like watching videos on YouTube. Cool. Madeline Financial Coaching. Subscribe. Couples Money Revelation Podcast is one of the categories under there. You can watch all these videos that I'm recording. Listen if you want. I got the audios on there too. We're going to have 2 amazing guests, you guys, coming up in the next few weeks with real life scenarios. And these are game-changing professionals, you guys. I've had some great people on here. These next 2 are going to be awesome. I don't know how else to say it. I really want you to tune in. And if this hits home for you guys, or you know someone, you're like, yo, Sharon needs to hear this. I mean, they've been overdrafting like crazy. Share it with someone. Reach out to me, you guys, to schedule a call if you need it. We can review a quick overgame of what's going on with your life and your financial plan and see if we need to get back on those tracks. Most importantly, start changing the mindset today. Not tomorrow, not next month, not in a year, today. So as always, guys, I want you to stay blessed and positive, and I will see you on the next episode of the Couples Money Revelation Podcast. Enjoy your night.